Before we get into today's video, I just want to start off by sending my condolences and thoughts to Diego Jota's family, friends, loved ones and everybody at Liverpool Football Club. Devastating, tragic news this morning broke that Jota, aged only 28, died in a car crash in Spain. And it's heartbreaking stuff. He only got married a week or so ago. He leaves behind 3 kids. It was his brother that was in the car with him. So it's absolutely awful, awful news. And it just shows that in our life you just don't know what's around the corner. You don't know what's going to happen next. It's just one of those where it just hits home. Do you know what I mean? It hits home and you just think, you've got to be grateful for this life and you've got to make the most of it. And it's shocking stuff about Diego Jota. It really is absolutely terrible. I feel really sorry for everyone that's close to him. And it's, it was a surprise and a big shock there, considering his age and everything else. It's absolutely awful. So may he rest in peace and all the best to his family and loved ones going forward. There has been conflicting reports in the past few days on Newcastle United's transfer budget for this current window that we're in. Yes, we're still in a summer window. We're 3 days into July now. I mean, all of this sounds a bit worse, I guess, and it's got people's backs up that we haven't signed anyone yet or look like we're close to signing anyone yet, because of the mini window that was at the start of June, before the Club World Cup and all that crap. There was a window there and then it closed and it's back open again. And we know Eddie Howe said he wanted to get players in early doors. Well, 3rd of July now and we're still talking to everybody. We're still exploring deals like Chris Columbus. We're still negotiating like a Turkish market. Now it's really kicking on. Now I hope I'm wrong. I hope by the time this video comes out this evening, Thursday the 3rd of July, that we are progressing, because we know that we are still in talks with James Trafford. I think that one will get done, and we are still negotiating and in talks with Anthony Elanga and Nottingham Forest. I do think that one will get done as well, but just because it hasn't got done yet, people are getting nervous. I've seen people online even suggesting that Sunderland are having a really good window and are getting ahead of Newcastle. Now, that is mental, and if you think that and you're a Newcastle fan, you are mental, because I can't name any of the players that Sunderland have signed, apart from that Atletico Madrid left back, and wasn't he a free agent? Yeah, come on, let's not go over the top now. And all the Matmers getting excited. Oh, we're winning the window, we're staying up. Look at you can't sign anybody. Rejection FC. I can't wait for that derby day. Bring it on. And I can't wait for the end of the window, to be honest with you, when finally, hopefully, we've signed 3 or 4 players. At least, to be fair. Never mind the outgoings. On outgoings, still nothing yet. No one's been sold yet. Longstaff might go. We don't know about Wilson or Ruddy. Their contracts have expired on the 30th of June. Still no official announcement on that. In this same article, I'm going to go off for Newcastle United's budget from the iPaper and Mark Douglas. It is saying that Wilson is likely to exit the club. Well, that's obviously likely right now, but we still haven't heard. We did offer him an incentivised pay-as-you-pay new deal. We don't know how that's went down. I've been hearing that Wilson was in talks with Leeds United. So we'll see. Could he go to Everton and replace Calvert-Lewin and Calvert-Lewin come this way? you'd have to hold off on that announcement, Newcastle United. Please hold off. If you're going to get Calvert-Lewin, don't do it yet. At least spend money on a couple of players and then announce Calvert-Lewin, because if we announce Calvert-Lewin as our first signing this summer on a free, it would be Meltdown City online. So let's not do that one. But yeah, still waiting to hear on official exits of your Wilsons, your Ruddies, the players that have had contracts expiring. No offers yet for our players, your Longstaffs, your Willocks. They've been linked to leave. So Target as well, Matty Target, we'll wait and see on any potential departures. But everybody wants an arrival. Everybody wants to get to a new destination. And that destination is Champions League, thankfully, so I want to be grateful we're still in that. But the new destination is very soon. It's pre-season. The lads are back on the 7th of July. They go to Celtic on the 19th, and then they go to Asia. So we've got to start making some signings, man. So hopefully it comes very soon. This article is saying that James Trafford could be signed and sealed and delivered as early as next week. I hope so, because we're running out of weeks, really, before pre-season starts anyways. So that one could be done. Elanga talks continue. We know Agent Asula has been on the case. They've been dancing together. They've been partying together. He's been in his ear, telling him how good the Toon is. We know Elanga wants to move. He said himself on a podcast that he was close to joining last summer and he was very interested in the move. Isak, his Swedish teammate, would happily convince him to come along as well, and he would love to play for him, play for Eddie Howe, play for the Mags and the Toon fans at St James's Park. But Forest and Fair Play are reluctant to sell, and they are holding out for a valuation of £50-60 million. So we've got to work on that one. But let's get to the point. What is the budget then? Because as I said, A few days ago, Keith Downey from Sky Sports News was saying that we had 125 million to spend. He put that tweet out last weekend, and I think he edited it because he was getting loads of grief for it, getting loads of stick. And I think that's because people don't want to hear that you haven't got that much. And to be fair, I think we've got more than that. And this article says that, but I think I've said all along, I think we've got at least 150 million to spend, and I think it'll actually be closer to 200 if we did sell some players. If we did sell a Longstaff for 15 million, if we did get 10 million here, 20 million for Willock, then I think that would be the case. You know, I do. And then, not to mention, if we actually sold a big player, you know, Gordon's been linked continuously, hasn't he? You know, Isaac's been linked forever, Tonali to Italy, all the rest of that junk. I don't think we'll lose a big player this summer. If it was to be one, I would expect it to be Anthony Gordon, and that would demand a big fee of probably about £80 million at least. Then that would mean we could spend massively, to be honest with you, well past the £200 million mark. But with Keith saying that it's 125 and then taking it away and saying it could be more with selling and all the rest of it, we've got Mark Douglas at the iPad to put the specs on so I get it right, suggesting that there is a budget of around 150 to 175 million pounds, and that is before player trading. So spending it the right way is the challenge. So that's why Newcastle are really talking with clubs, ongoing discussions, negotiations to make sure they get the best value per pound per player. And that's why we didn't stretch to certain fees for Mbumo and wages for Pedro, even though he always wanted Chelsea in the end, apparently. And that's why, we're talking things out and thrashing deals out with the Burnleys, who are holding out for 40, and we think it's about 30. Alanga, they want 60, and we think it's about 45, 50. So we've got to meet in the middle. We've got to make a fee agreeable, and we've got to make sure that we hit like add-ons and stuff is the way forward for me. I think we'll do that. I think we'll end up paying about 53 million for Alanga and 5 million add-ons, and we're close enough to a 60 million valuation there. And I think that's what will happen with Burnley as well, with Trafford. So I think we'll get them done. But Newcastle there, 150 to 175 million before any sales. So it looks like 200 million could be right. Joe Willock linked to a move back to London, whether it's Fulham or Crystal Palace, for around £20 million. Sean Longstaff linked to Everton and Leeds for around £15 million. So that would really help us a lot. These players that are kind of fringe players, not getting much game time, but then obviously you've got to replace them. So you look at that 150 to 175 million. Say if you spent 35 million on Trafford, you spent 55 million on Alanga, and then you had to get a backup striker as well. We don't know who that's going to be now. We're moving on for João Pedro. So you got a centre back in, which is looking at around 40 odd million pounds. Maybe if it's one abroad, Baladi's been linked yesterday. We talked about him on the podcast. So that's going to round things up quite nicely, isn't it? So we are going to need that around that 175 million pound ballpark figure. And we know players are so expensive these days. The prices are way overinflated. And that's where we're going to have to be dealing with. But I am still very confident. I know a bit of a rant the other day because of the whole PSR thing and not making loopholes happen and another player turning us down. And you've got other people making articles just telling where we went wrong, showing all the players who we had rejected. Is what the Athletic put out the other day, today. Saying, oh, look at all these players at Newcastle trying to sign this summer and failed on. I don't want to look at that, to be honest. I don't want that depression and negativity in my life. Thank you very much. Let's put that behind we and focus on who we should sign, who we might sign, and get some signings done. You know what I mean? So that's how it's felt this summer so far. It's been doom and gloom a bit lately. It's all been a bit negative. It's been very frustrating, I get it. But we have to step back and just think, right, we're in July. Yep, pre-season's looming. But we're still going to sign 3 or 4 players. I think we will still spend that 150 to 200 million pounds. I do. And listen, if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up and I'll be absolutely good. And we'll be deep in the mud. We will be deep in trouble with Champions League if we don't do that. And we don't bring in a few players. We all know that. So let's hope things are happening. And this article here says it's down to Andy Howe and Eddie Howe to get these deals done. Andy Howe, Eddie's nephew, was pivotal in getting Sandro Tonali over the line a couple of years ago. So he's back leading negotiations now on the transfer front, with Eddie Howe taking a key role. He's very much the boss. He's very much the one that's calling the shots now. He's kick-starting the transfer business. Now he's back from his holidays and all that. So we should see some movement very soon. Let's hope so. Let's hope we get things over the line. Now with Eddie Howe, obviously people have questioned it in the past, but he has done well. Like I said there, Andy Howe, bringing in the likes of Tonali. Paul Mitchell came in last year as sporting director. The transfer struggles, the power struggles between him and Eddie really backfired. They didn't see eye to eye. Now it happened then. No major signings. You like Kelly's and that, which is now gone. So it's vacated, that role, and Eddie Howe has took control of it. So let's hope he can master it and get things done. The iPaper states here that because we're moving into a new accounting period for profit and sustainability rules, will encourage the market to get a bit more realistic. So maybe fees will drop a little bit, the demands will lower slightly. Players and clubs know that they have to start moving in and out, you know, before the season starts, while the pre-season tours kick off. They need to get the squad settled and need to get things sorted. Because do Forest really want Anthony Elanga coming back and, you know, having a whinge and kicking up a fuss when he knows he wants to leave, he knows he's in talks? I mean, it's not ideal for the team, is it, really? And I'll tell you what's not ideal, focused on Newcastle United, is having the same squad returning for years now. You know, what is going on there? We're at the Benton training ground. They haven't seen a new face, a new player in ages of note that gets people excited. You know, it sounds disrespectful last summer to Lloyd Kelly and Asula and stuff, but you know what I mean? Like, he's acting brutal on that. Want to see a player come through the door where they're like, yes, man, he's talented, he's quality, I want to play with him. He's great around the place, he's going to fit in, he's going to do well, he's going to take us up the table, he's going to make us fight domestically and give us a chance in the Champions League. That's what everyone needs. A big lift, a big boost. Fans included, us now, you lot watching the video, online, social media, the players on the pitch, the fans in the stadium who go to games, everybody just needs that lift because it is starting to get a bit doom and gloom and everything everywhere. So let's have a lift. Let's have some positive news very soon, hopefully, from the Toon that, you know, Trafford's coming, Elanga's coming, or anybody else, anybody, please, sign for the Toon. We need to see a player holding that shirt ASAP. And let's finish on a positive then, because they say here, we have ambitious targets, we have good sales and money to spend. Decent arrivals feel inevitable. That's what we like to hear. There is financial muscle in this window and has undoubtedly been strengthened by restraint over the last 12 months. That's what we've heard for a while now, so we need to see some action on that. We all told, like, oh, this summer we can go mad, this summer we can spend big. Well, we haven't seen it yet, but again, there's still time. So let's hope it happens. Thanks for watching, everyone. Drop your comments below. Subscribe to my channel TV, and I'll see you on the next one.